I'm Iamkyliegee and welcome to my little corner of the interweb where I talk about my love of knitting, the projects I'm working on, the projects I plan to do in the future, and some of the ridiculous challenges I set for myself in order to get knitting done. Thanks for stopping by. If you're coming back, oh my God, thank you so much. And if this is the first time you've stopped in to say hello to me or watch one of my videos, thanks so much, and I hope you enjoy it. Today is April the 19th, Tuesday, April the 19th in 2022, and it is the first Tuesday after Easter and the first official day of my holidays. I've got 3 weeks off from work, and once I go back to work we enter into a really busy time, so I'm looking forward to doing a lot of relaxing and knitting and not a lot of demanding ridiculous goals that I've set myself for my time off, except for knitting goals, which I always seem to have. Today we're going to talk about my April goals for knitting. If you watched my last podcast, you would know that I've set myself a ridiculous, it's probably not ridiculous, it's doable. Maybe I've overcommitted. Oh, who knows? Who knows? Anyway, I've set myself the goal of finishing 5 projects. I have finished some, and I'm going to talk about those. Some I haven't touched, and some I'm getting ready to start working on again, which is a bit exciting. I'm going to talk about knitting, well, obviously knitting, but knitting hiding in plain sight, how I hide my knitting in my living room so that it doesn't look like just an extension of my craft room, because let's face it, things can get quite messy in your knitting chair, can't they, with all the projects you've got sitting around. I've got a couple of old finished projects that I want to talk to you about, and maybe even some future knitting. We'll see how we go for time. Anyway, let's dive straight in as I bring you up to date with my ridiculous, or maybe not so ridiculous, knitting goals for April. So if you watched my last video, I talk about the 5 projects that I want to get done this month. Now, caveat, I'm going to give myself a little bit of a get out of jail free card here. If I don't finish these projects, that's okay, because there's no such thing as the knitting police. It's just that I enjoy setting myself little challenges, and it helps to keep me monogamous and prevent castonitis. That being said, I've just started my holidays and I want nothing more than to cast on a couple of new projects. So anyway, so first things first, I was on a bit of a deadline to finish a project for a girlfriend at work who was having a baby. Now, as I've mentioned to you before, I like to knit a project for all the new babies that are being born into our little workplace. It's not so little, there's about 250 people who work there. Most of us are older, most of us have grown children, but every now and then one of the girls at work has a baby, and I generally like to knit for them. So whilst I don't have that finished project with me, I have taken some gorgeous photos that are on my Instagram, which is, my Instagram handle is Iamkyliegee, and my Ravelry name is Kylie G, so G-E-E. So yeah, pop over and have a look there. There's some really cute photos, but I will pop in here, or not even here. I might actually give this the whole screen for you to have a look at, because it is just a stunning knit and something that I will certainly knit again. It's a little bit of a jaw dropper. So let me tell you what I knit, and let me talk to you a little bit about it. It's called the it's hard to read backwards because it does backwards things here. Purl Tongue Newborn Onesie, which is just a gorgeous little onesie. Now, I didn't knit the lace, as you will see from the picture that I popped in, and I was actually going to embroider a teddy bear's face on the front, but once I got it done with the cables down the side here, I actually didn't think it needed it, and I just did short sleeves. Now, the needles called for were a 3mm, I think they were 3mm. Knitting in the round was just awful. I magic loop when the cord is just that little bit thicker. It's just awful. I really don't enjoy it. So I jumped online and ordered a set of DPNs, Chiago DPNs, that are winging their way to me as we speak. So don't have them yet, but waiting for them to be delivered. So that's a bit exciting. I've not used DPNs, so we'll see how we go. But this gorgeous, gorgeous little onesie certainly will make an appearance in the future, and I really would like to do it at some stage with the lace, because I think it's really pretty with the lace. So yeah, so one finished object, so 1 of 5. Go Kylie, right? I know. Who am I? Who am I? The next, I'm calling it finished, I tend to do things a little prematurely, is a pair of socks. Now, they're not in a sock blocker because they haven't been blocked yet, and I haven't quite finished the second sock. But these are the wild, I'm just on the toe. Look, I'm virtually there. I know. I sat and knit in the sun yesterday on the deck, and it was just lovely. It was so nice. I don't know why I don't do that more often. We've got this gorgeous 5-meter deck that sits on the back of our house, and I tend to sit in the lounge room all the time. I live in the most gorgeous place in the world. I don't know why I'm not sitting out among the palm trees knitting more. So I sat out there yesterday with my feet up and a cold drink, and turned the heel. So I turned the heel on this yesterday, and then pretty much finished the foot. Now, my favorite thing about these socks is the honeycomb heel. Can you see that? The beautiful thing about this heel, no purling. I know, no purling. There is not a purl stitch short of the cuff in this whole sock, and that is just lovely. It's almost like the stitch is a little bit like a partridge heel knit in reverse. So you actually carry the yarn across the front of the work. Yeah, the front of the work. Just gorgeous. And will be my go-to heel because it is so pretty. Really pretty. Now with all of my socks, I have quite a high arch. So I knit an additional 4 rows in the heel flap, which gives me more room here in the gusset, which makes allowances for my high arch. So whilst these aren't blocked, because I can't, because I don't have any water in my house at the moment. We've had some water issues over the Easter break, so we've had to turn the water off at the mains because we had quite a nasty leak. So I couldn't have blocked them anyway. So I didn't. Mind you, the guys are out there sorting it out now, so hopefully I'll have water this afternoon, which is great because, man, not having water is like camping at home, hey? It really is like camping at home. You gotta think about filling the kettle up and emptying water out of jugs, and oh, it's terrible. Never mind not being able to flush the loo. My God. Anyway, we're managing okay, and thankfully it's just my husband and I at home, and you know, we don't have any little ones or elderly people with us, so it's a little bit easier. And if you can hear it, the guys are just working just outside this window, so you can probably even hear them. Anyway, so they haven't been blocked because I don't have any water. So this afternoon I will sit down and finish these. So I'm calling that a finished object. Can I? Is that okay? All right, now the other project that I was working on was a set of mitts for my sister. Now let me pull those out. They're in here somewhere in this gorgeous little basket. Maybe they're not. No, they're not here. They must be at my desk. At my chair. Strange. Anyway, I don't need to show you them because I've actually changed my mind about what the mitts I'm going to make my sister. I've started watching a podcast by Leslie Friend, who is just such a charming, oh gosh, I just want to sit down and knit with her all the time. She's just lovely. She's got quite a few podcasts out, so I've been binge watching. Now, one of her, she's also a designer, and she has a few patterns out, not loads, but they're just really potato chip, well, they're nice knits, and I really love her aesthetic. It's classic and simple, and she knits things that she can put in her wardrobe easily, which I think is, you know, what we should all do a little bit more of. Anyway, Leslie Friend, she's a friend to knit with, has a gorgeous pattern called Toast, which are mitts, but they're really just cuffs. So they're just tubes, really. Knit on an Aran weight yarn or a worsted weight yarn. And I thought I would knit these for my sister because far more practical than a little mitt. Now, the interesting thing about these is that they're just a cuff knit from the bottom up. They're just a tube, really. So I've made a couple of modifications because, you know, Have you met me? I very rarely do anything I'm supposed to do. I tend to do things. I tend to change things up a fair bit. Anyway, so what I've done is I knit this in I knit it flat. I did some ribbing and then just knit it flat. Now what I will do is I will just go back and stitch the ribbing closed, and then you've got this little hole here for your thumb. So let's see if I can get these on without dropping a stitch. There we go. So they'll be like that. Right. The great thing about them, let me hold that close. So what I like about these is you actually knit them quite long. So when it sits, then it tucks up nicely under your coat, so you don't get that wrist freeze that you get with mitts. So quite long. But the other great thing is that you don't necessarily have to leave your thumb in. That keeps your hands warm. But if you need your hands for anything, you can slide them up. Yeah? I know, right? How cool. Now, my sister, Karen, lives in a very cold place. So I get to knit for her a fair bit. And she's very knit worthy. And her one request was that the yarn I use be super soft and dark. Now, as it turned out, I actually had this in my stash. This is, let me see if it's another woolen mill. I always find it funny when people can't find it. No, that's another one. Excuse the top of my head. This is Cartier. Cartier Cotton Merino. I'll link the colourway down below. I've just ordered some more in a gorgeous green, and I figured if this goes according to plan, I'll actually knit some with some mohair held double, but this has got a very, very subtle halo. You can sort of see it there. So yeah, really happy with these, and they're just fun to knit with. They're fun to knit. So let me talk to you about these needles. So I was at Spotlight, which is a bit like your Michaels in the US, and picking up some gift wrap for the baby gifts that I was wrapping, because I'll show you how I wrap the parcel here. It's also on my Instagram, but I think, you know, it's one thing to give a gift, but to make the gift look like something super special is one of the things I just love. I love ribbons and bows and all of those beautiful things. So I was at Spotlight organising the wrapping for the baby gift I was giving, and as always, I stopped into the yarn section. It's not like I need any more, because this is just the pretty stuff on display. There's a whole other hell of a stash over there. So it's not like I need yarn, but I always stop in and have a look. And I came across these Addy. Now, I think they're called Flexi Flips in the US, and these are called Addy Crazy Trio. they're made in Germany. And these are the 4mm ones. So they're the Addy Crazy Trio. And I picked them up because they were on sale. And I thought, you know, I'm going to test them out and I'm going to let you know what I think of them and whether or not they're worth the fuss. Well, let me say, yes and no. I don't knit on double points, although I have ordered myself some double points. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. So I've got some Chalgoos winging their way to me at the moment. From my favourite yarn shop, Skein Sisters in Sydney. You should check them out. They're gorgeous Instagram and yeah, just lovely. Anyway, so I'm not a double point never done double point knitting on double point needles. I'm a magic looper for my socks, as you saw before. So this is kind of like a cross between magic loop and DPNs. So a nice crossover. Yeah, nice crossover. Much easier than wrangling with the thicker cable on thicker needles for magic loop, because I struggle with that. These are quite expensive here in Australia, these needles. Now I got them on sale. I wouldn't have bought them if they weren't on sale. I got them at half, 40% off or something, and paid, I don't know, $25, $26 for them. They retail for about $42 here. Are they worth $42? Yeah, no. Not when you can get a double point set for $80, a set of a range of sizes. This is one set of needles for yeah, that kind of money. So no, I wouldn't buy them if they weren't on special. They do have one slightly longer point on one side, if you can see there. It's a little sharper, and that's a duller point, or shorter point, but not as nice a point as the Chalgoos, which are my go-to. But super fun to do something different, you know, let's face it. You know, mind you, I could just knit round and around and around and around and around forever on a sock, because I just find it so relaxing. So anyway, so these are my version of my modified toast mitts, and a little bit of a review on the Addy Flexi Flips, or the Crazy Trio as they call them. So there we go. So that's number 3. And I'm not going to do the other mitts for my sister this month. I'll do those instead, because it's just knit, and I'm a little bit over cables, having just done cables on that little baby sweater. So that's that, and that's in my gorgeous little hiding in plain sight basket. This is all my little projects. So I've got mittens and one of those gorgeous grass baskets. I've got lots of these. They sell them at my health food store. I'm sure they think I've got a problem for the amount that I buy. But yeah, this is my little project, sits in this in the lounge room. I've got a couple of projects in it, and I can whip them out at any time. So my April socks are finished. So that's 4 pairs of socks this year. And my mitts. There we go. Now, the next project that I've done some work on, I haven't really done all that much, but I did mention in the last podcast that I was going to steam this gorgeous little Calligraphy Cardigan to breathe some life back into it. Now it's blowing out a little bit. Listen to me sounding like a podcaster. And I've started, and once I steamed it, it was perfect idea to do, because once I steamed it, I realised that I'd already started the shaping in the waist. So I've picked this up before, like a second time after I frogged it, and I've put some waist shaping in. So I need to sit down now. The next thing I need to do is sit down and work out what waist shaping ratio I started with. I'll find the pattern in my pile of printed patterns and pick that back up. But having steamed it, I was able to breathe some real life back into it, which also makes me think, you know, I'm happy with the sleeves the way they are. I don't need to change them. I also, it just makes me love the colour more. And my husband saw this and he went, oh, that's really pretty. That'll look really nice with it. Okay. I guess it's a good thing I'm finishing it, honey. So I haven't knit a stitch on this, but I did say in the last podcast that I was going to steam it. And I did talk about recording a podcast, keeping you motivated and focused and honest, which is great. Really is. Okay. So I'm hoping to get some stitches done on that in the next little bit. I'd like to finish that. That'd be really cool. Now, something that hasn't had a stitch at all, but will when I just want to do some knitting, is my half and half triangles wrap. Now, my half and half triangles wrap has not had any love on it at all. None. So, looking forward to it. If you can hear that bang, that's the workmen going through our pool fence in and out. I think I might have water. Oh, yes. I had to dry shampoo my hair this morning after my walk. Looking forward to a nice long hot shower where I'm not feeling guilty about water seeping into the earth from my leaky pipes. Anyway, so half and half wrap. This is quite the commitment, isn't it? But I can tell that I will love wearing this. This will be something that will probably live in the car for those chilly nights when we're out and about. And I'll probably put another one on my needles, not so big, because if you haven't heard, I actually whacked an extra 60 stitches on. So thinking, anyway, all good. But haven't knit a stitch on that. Keep walking past my window. So that's what I'm knitting on. Now let me tell you about the top I'm wearing. Now this top normally sits on Frankie. This is Frankie. And this is the lino top by Hohi Locatelli. Sorry, I'll edit that out. So I really like the wider neckline on this. Because I think it maybe hides my boobs just a little bit, maybe. But it's got this gorgeous, let me just stand up and show you, this gorgeous cable down the front. And this lovely, lovely waist shaping. Just lovely. So it really is just a knit, this one, a very potato chippy. There's lots of details on my Ravelry page. I knit this in about 2019, I think. So yeah, really like it. I should wear it more. It's just that it's been living on Frankie and not in my wardrobe, and Frankie's in my office. So yeah. Now, in order to wear this, I couldn't leave Frankie naked, so I popped my Tegna on Frankie. Now, my Tegna is, this is knit in Lolo Did It. I know, you're shocked, right? Lolo did it. In the Fulsome colourway, and it's plush sock is the base, which is one of my favourite bases. It's got a tencel element in it, I think. Anyway, I just love it. Really nice to knit with. My Tegna by Caitlin Hunter is knit in Northbound Knitting Merino Silk Fingering, which is also really lovely to knit with. I've got another sweater's quantity of that in. Oh God, don't you just want to knit all the things? All the things. Anyway, so that's that. Yeah, really happy with that. That was one of the first garments I knit. I knit that for my I knit that before this, actually. Yeah, I knit that in 2018. So, oh gosh, God, time flies. Okay, so let me tell you about hiding in plain sight. Knitting hiding in plain sight. Now, this is my tip for you this week, such as it is. I know that, and I've heard a lot of knitters talk about how messy their little patch in the living room or around the knitting chair can get. And I'm no different. You know, there are some days I get up and go to bed having knit all night, and I just, you know, put everything down and stumble off to bed. You wander back out in the morning and go, my God, it looked like a yarn store exploded in my lounge room, and I've got notions and, you know, notes and pattern pieces and, you know, pages of patterns and all of that kind of stuff scattered across the other half of the lounge, because I sit on a two-seater lounge, so by myself. One side's for my knitting and the other side's for me. So in an effort to, I heard years ago that in order to stay tidy, you need to work with the habits you currently have. So I like to have things close by, really handy. I like to have a couple of projects I can knit on, generally a large one and a small one, so that I can swap them out. I tend to be pretty monogamous knitter once I sort of get on the, and certainly since I've been recording this podcast, but I like to have a couple of projects handy, and I also really like to not have to get up to go and get stuff. It's crazy, really, right? Because, you know, life's just so exhausting when you sit and knit a lot. Anyway, I know I'm no different to most. A lot of knitters anyway, I shouldn't say most. So what I did was I like to have, I've got my Notions pouch, which I showed you a couple of weeks ago, which is quite small, and that has most of the stuff in it that I need. And then there's the other bits and bobs and tools. So I have a I actually have a coffee table with a drawer in it that used to hold magazines and normal lounge room bits and bobs. Not anymore. It's been converted to a knitting drawer, and it's got some of my larger things in it. So it will have my needles, and yeah, so all of the larger things sit there. But then there's the little bits and bobs that I need from time to time. So this is what I've done, and it sits next to me on my coffee table. Now, what's in here? Oh. I've got some barbercord. I've got some stitch markers, some tape. But that sits beside my chair. And this is the one that I got that at Kmart. $6, $8, something. And then this one is jam-packed full of the little rubber things that I use to tighten my needles up with. End stoppers for my needles. Sorry about the noise. And stitch markers. So that's how I keep my knitting looking tidy and classy in my lounge room. Works really well. Anyway, things are getting much noisier outside now, so I think I might wrap things up there. For those of you who have enjoyed this, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the little bell so that you get notified each time I upload a new podcast. And I would just like to say a huge thank you for stopping by and spending some time with me today. All of the notes will be in the drop down box underneath. Show notes, I'll upload those before this goes live, excuse me. And yeah, thanks for stopping by. I might see you in less than a week because I'm on holidays. So if I get loads done or I find something really exciting I need to tell you about, I'll pop on and do another little video. In the meantime, please make sure you knit something you love. Life's too short to be knitting things you're not enjoying. Splurge on the yarn if you can, and have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.